So I went back. I'm last boat now, so I have zero pressure. I don't have to go anywhere. Everyone's already there, right? So I go to where I ended the day, and I catch one. So right off the bat, I'm already way ahead of where I was yesterday within the first couple of minutes. And I've got 2 more hours to fish later on in the day. So things are going good, in my opinion. Now, I don't get any more bites. I kind of thought I was going to get one. I'm not going to lie, but I don't want to push my too luck in this place, right? I mean, I did pull up there and catch 3 yesterday. So, you know, 1 was good. I'll take it and be on my day. So I roll out and I'm like, okay, that's almost going to do everything a little bit back resistant, right? So I pulled from the other place where I had my second fish yesterday. There was no one in there, so I was like, all right, cool. So I fished everything and you know, I didn't get any bites. So that's got me a little concerned in the sense of I kind of fished it a little bit slower, harder, thinking I'm going to at least get a bite in here. Did some flipping, you know, did some frogging, did some swim jigging, fished it all the way through. Nothing. So I roll out. This is where things get really interesting. And I'm gonna have to really explain all this.
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I've heard.
All right, so let's dive into this next part. If you can see, this is once again. There's this pepper grass on this place. It's right next to where I lost that big one, but they're really close. I mean, they're like 3 casts apart. Didn't get any bites there yesterday, but I'm hitting it differently. I'm hitting it when it's calmer, and I'm hitting it way earlier in the morning. But I still have never gotten a bite there. So am I fishing it fast? Yeah. But it still looks the right thing. I mean, I had a 4 to 5 pounder really close right over there. Why wouldn't they breed one here? So as I'm entering into this thing, I'm kind of making my way back through it. Now, I want to explain something about the shad spawn. I've dealt with the shad spawn enough to know that when I got that bite in practice, it was just me rolling up there and getting a bite. And a lot of times, way later on in the day, after the shad spawn, like the first bait to come through, they blow up on and they eat it. And that's what happened in practice. That's what happened the first day of the tournament, right? One was just up there and fed in the middle of the day. I'm hitting this in the morning time during the shad spawn. It's not always the case that they bite it right off the bat. Most of the time, a lot of times during shad spawn stuff, there's like little bitty 15, 20-second windows of feeding. And a lot of times it's because the shad push through there. And all of a sudden one will start blowing up or doing some stuff. So I get halfway through this pepper grass here and I see a swirl. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I throw it at nothing. I throw it at, all of a sudden another swirl, and I throw it at nothing. And then I power pull down. I think my corner gets a bite, and I'm like, man, what's going on here, right? Because I hadn't seen the shad spawn. Remember, guys, even in practice, I had been looking for one, but really hadn't seen one to where it's like this. So now I start to really slow down. But here's the problem. I'm not in a good spot right now. I am kind of too close, kind of in the middle. I'm not in the right position because I was going through there fast, and it put me in a weird little predicament moving forward. But let's slow it down and I'll show y'all, okay?
There he is. That one that blew up on me a minute ago. Yes, sir.
So you're probably going, what's the big deal, right? Why are you moving? They were busting. And look, guys, we're in a foot of water. They're in a foot, we're in like a foot and a half. We're too close. I know enough to realize that, man, they're going to be hard to catch. They're blowing up around us. They're not eating. I'm not really rigged. I got some things I want to do. I want to tie on a fluke. I want to tie on a swim bait. And like I said, the main deal is we're too close, and I just think they know that. And I want to get further away. So I'm like, okay, there's no one around. I mean, I don't see a boat in sight. Because no one's really been fishing on this side of this like big giant point. So I'm like, look, I'll just go over here. I'll fish where I lost that big one, and I'll come right back. It's right there. I guess I made a mistake. So anyways, long story short, as I get through and I'm coming back, a boat just kind of like gets on the other side of that deal, like comes around the corner, and I'm like, oh my gosh, man, that sucks, And anyways, he wasn't really even worried about the pepper grass. He wasn't even throwing at it. They're almost out of sight. Like they're almost on the other side of this point. And his coiler's like bombing over there and hooks one. His boater didn't even worry about it. He just kept going. And his coiler got out there and caught another one. And so I'm back here too. I'm on this side of it, and it's big enough to fish both sides, It's not a big deal. But just some kind of bad luck, right? I mean, I was gonna go back and like really work this place over. His coiler ended up catching 3 there. I wasn't throwing. It was kind of 2 sections of pepper grass there, so he kind of threw on that, and I threw on my side, and I knew. But the problem was, once again, we're firing baits in there, and you got to give fish like this a break. And so I kind of threw something out there to him. I'm like, hey, we're gonna have to leave these alone and kind of come back. And I don't know. It kind of didn't work. He sat there. I left it. I found out later, I don't think they ever caught a fish there again. Like I said, I think you needed to give him a break before catching them. That's just my opinion. Maybe I was wrong. So we never got to hit it again. They basically stayed on it for the rest of the day. That one little spot they stayed on it. Of course, we went fishing. I'm not going to sit on a little bitty 1-foot hole for the rest of the day. But yeah, just kind of bad luck. I mean, I just didn't think anyone was going to come around the corner that fast. So no big deal. Maybe it's the best thing for me because I went fishing. So let's go see what happens for the rest of the day. So this is one place I got bit in practice. I just kind of went, I was thinking in my head, right? Where have I gotten a bite? There's a good chance I'll get another one. Right here, I'm just throwing this in there because look at this gator, this little gator. I mean, it came from the back of that pocket when I came in there and just chasing baits. I'm going, get on out of here. So anyways, this one kind of pissed me off. So there's a dock. It makes a bend in this pocket. And this is the dock next to where I got bit in practice. And if I tell my guy, I'm like, I'm throwing that swim jig so far up in there, and they're really not holding on to it very well. Well, anyways, yeah, I basically shook one off. Like I threw up in there, didn't realize it was a bite, and I shook it off. So now I'm messing around. Like I didn't really fish these islands, but it has this little gator grass. So I go pull up on them because, like I said, I kind of know what to look for. So I'm like, well, no one's been over here. No one's hitting this stuff. I'm still just trying to get some bites, generate some any which way I can. And you can see that little section of gator grass, right? That little bit of stuff. You can fish all them bushes. You can do all that stuff. And if you find just a little bit of that gator grass, there'll be one there. Now the problem is this one's not very big, the one that just bit. That's probably why it missed. Like I said, that's one of the deals of the water falling. But here's another little spot of of gator grass. And I throw on it and get bit. So I'm going, okay, this is getting annoying. They're biting the claws off. One little other small section. I catch one. It's not a keep. So I'm like, I got bit on there was 4 little sections there. I mean, they're 1 cast deals, and I got bit on every one of them. They're just small ones like this. So I kind of leave it. Right now I'm rolling. I've got something in mind. So let's go do this. Okay, so here's what I have in mind. I thought about this. that area I had fish in it, right? The area I kind of started in yesterday, I hit it about 8 o'clock. I got bit in there twice in practice, not necessarily the same place. So what I did is there was like 5 big areas. One of them I got bit in really good. The other 3 I didn't. And then the other one, I fished it the final day before practice, and I barely got through any of it and got 3 bites and I left. And so there's a giant section of that I haven't hit. So I'm going, they didn't leave, and everything else has been beat up. I mean, everything got beat up yesterday. It's like 11 o'clock now. I've got a full day still ahead of me because I'm the last boat to weigh in. And I'm sitting here going, let's go. Let's go put your head down and make these fish bite. I don't know what the deal was. I know that they bit in the morning time, but they didn't that day. I don't know what the deal was with that. I know it has to do everything with the shad spawn. But I know enough too that I'm like, okay, let's let the sun get up. That's my whole goal here. I'm gonna let the sun get up and create a shade. I just want a shade line, whether it be docks, whether it be tree line, whatever it be. So I'm like, I'm gonna hit these. They're probably not gonna bite as good as they would normally in the morning time during a shad spawn, but I can maybe locate them better. I'm not sure, but I'm like, they gotta bite. They gotta bite. So I come in here, put my head down. I got nowhere else to go. There's a boat randomly here and there, but they're all flipping. So I'm like, hey, I got this. Let's just see what we can do. You know how to catch them on your palm perch. Let's do this. So I get my first bite, and that's all I needed. One bite. It's not a big one.
How many times have you been hooked?
Probably not 14. That's why it's on getting released.
So I was looking at it. It looked like it had been caught a couple times. It had hole marks all in it, and that's why it was still there, because it wasn't big enough. So it gets to go back.
Neither one of those are my favorite.
But I'm going, hey, here it is though. I got a bite. That's all I needed. I just need a bite to get me to just keep my head in the game. So that's about 10 minutes later. And I'm thinking to myself, like, now I've got not 2 fish, but I've had 2 bites in here. So now I'm really rolling. Now I'm like, I got it. Like, it's gonna happen. This one was cool. Watch this. So that fish swirled out of it. And that's why you never set the hook, man. You just be patient. And I can't believe she came back and ate it. Just be patient. That's why you don't set the hook until you feel them, man. Because like if I'd have set the hook, I'd have missed it, right? But it came back and ate it. And that was a pretty good one. This one was kind of funny too. If you listen real close. Okay, so listen to what we say.
Well, I didn't know it. I heard it. I heard it too, and I was looking at yours, and I didn't feel nothing.
You gonna
I never felt it.
Wow.
She didn't. I mean,
So yeah, that fish blew up, but I thought it was on his. And so I couldn't see. I just kept working. I never felt anything. And I finally, after like 4 or 5 pops, I finally set the hook. So I do this for a while throughout the day. I've got a limit, but I stopped getting bit, so time to move. So I had just a little bit of time left. I try to go make some more magic happen underneath these docks. I just don't think there's very many fish under them. I think they were big ones, just not many. Once again, if you notice in my practice video, I got bit right up here on this point, right in front of me. So I was pretty much, I was sure I was probably gonna get a bite, just because that's how this whole place has been, right? You get bit in practice, you catch a fish pretty close. Look, it's all about ounces in this game, and I called up about an ounce or 2 with that one fish. that was the last fish. I had a couple more minutes left, and I had to leave. So, I had that one frogfish, man, that helped me because it was over a 4-pounder. And I had another frogfish that was pushing 3. So, and, I felt pretty good. I executed way better on this day. I didn't have as many big bites, but of course it's day 2. But I also felt like, man, I was right there.
Am I the last one? Nuh-uh. Really? Where are they all waiting? Where they all waiting in? So they must got him, huh?
So, yeah, like I was the last one to check in. I still had like 3 or 4 minutes left, and I'm shocked.
Really?
Usually if there's 3 or 4 minutes left, there's still some other guys, but he said I was the last one to check in. So, last one out, last one to check in. Feel like I did my job. Gotta go weigh these suckers in and see where I end up.